Special thanks to Bespoke Post for sponsoring this video. Tesla has held the throne for electric vehicles for a while now, and one of the biggest arguments against them as a long-lasting company is that once other manufacturers decide to make an electric vehicle, they will do so, scale it far easier, get costs much lower, and wipe out Tesla entirely. So far, this has not been the case, but this year, as well as in 2022, is when we will be seeing the true Tesla EV competition come to be. We're going to talk about all of Tesla's upcoming competition, but stick with the mainstream companies we have actually heard of, and focus on the vehicles that will actually come to production, as opposed to talking about concepts that we'll probably never see. There are lots of great options coming to market, so let's get into it. For reference and a quick overview, Tesla sells 4 vehicles: the Model 3, Model Y, Model S, and Model X. The Model 3 is a small sedan, seats 5, and comes in at the cheapest. It gets up to 353 miles of range. The Model Y is a crossover SUV, seats 5 or 7, and gets up to 326 miles of range. The Model S and X are much pricier, but the Model S can get up to 412 miles of range, and the Model X gets up to 360 miles of range. Keep in mind that these ranges, as well as all of the estimated ranges we'll be talking about today, are from the EPA and do not represent real-world range. In nearly every scenario, your real range is going to be lower than these estimates. One thing to keep in mind with all of these upcoming vehicles is where your charging options will be. Tesla has a huge advantage with their worldwide supercharger network that is currently exclusive to their vehicles. Making trips in a Tesla is incredibly easy, but other EVs may have difficulty. There are many great charging networks coming up, and so far all EVs, with the exception of one company, are relying on third-party charging to keep your vehicle charged on the road. Charging at home is the best, most convenient, and cheapest option, but the goal is that these can be people's only cars, and long-term that means you need to be able to drive anywhere without issue. Another thing to keep in mind with EVs is that the federal EV tax credit is currently available at $7,500 and will be available for all of these EVs minus Teslas or anything from GM. The program is currently being reworked and is rumored to include a $10,000 point of sale rebate on any EV from any company in the near future, but for the time being, the $7,500 is what is available. Additionally, many states have great incentives for EVs as well, and depending on where you live, you should be able to get a significant rebate or grant to help pay for your electric vehicle. To start off with, let's talk about our first electric vehicle, and one that has been out for a while now, the Chevy Bolt. The Chevy Bolt has been a popular EV for some time, and Chevy just relaunched it in 2022 along with an SUV version of it. The 2022 Chevy Bolt is a slight refresh from the older version and is a small hatchback that seats up to 5. It includes things like one-pedal driving, Apple CarPlay, an instrument cluster display, lane keep assist, emergency braking, and gets up to 259 miles of an EPA range on a full charge. For charging, it includes DC fast charging standard, and a 240-volt charging unit lets you plug in at home. There are 2 main trims for the Chevy Bolt, and the cheapest one starts at $31,995, which is a great price for what this car offers. If the Chevy Bolt is too small for you, but you like the price point and features offered, Chevy just announced the new 2022 Bolt EUV. The Bolt EUV is very similar to the normal Bolt and includes all of the same standard features with a much more spacious interior. Most likely, if you compared the specs of the Bolt EV to the Tesla Model 3, the Bolt EUV would feel like a Model Y. The launch edition of the Bolt EUV includes a few specific upgrades like a panoramic sunroof, upgraded wheels and badging, and the big one, GM's Super Cruise. Unfortunately, this is only available on the more expensive trims, but they come in at a decent price, with the first Super Cruise compatible vehicle starting at $38,495. Super Cruise is an advanced system similar to Tesla Autopilot, but enables hands-free driving. According to Chevy, quote, "Available Super Cruise, a Chevrolet first, is a true hands-free driving assistance feature for compatible roads. Utilizing advanced technologies like LiDAR mapping, this feature offers the ease and convenience of hands-free driving, making mundane commutes a thing of the past." There are over 200,000 miles of Super Cruise compatible roads, which means this system is both very robust but also limited compared to Tesla's self-driving systems. The range of the Bolt EUV is 250 miles, which is pretty great considering the price point for this car. The cheapest Chevy Bolt EUV starts at $34,000. Now let's talk about a more premium brand, Audi. Audi has a few electric vehicles on the way to add to their current e-tron. The current e-tron is available starting at $64,900 and includes a number of premium features, air suspension, and a 0 to 60 of 5.5 seconds. The top range of the Audi e-tron is 222 miles. Upcoming, Audi is planning the 2022 e-tron GT. It's a great looking car with similar premium Audi features, but starts at a whopping $100,945. It should get about 238 miles of range when it is released, but it's more focused on performance with a 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Upcoming from Audi as well is their e-tron Q4, which will be their cheapest electric vehicle by far. The Q4 e-tron is an SUV that is supposed to go on sale in June of this year. It will cost around $45,000 or a little more, get up to 250 miles of range on a charge, and a 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds. There are 2 versions of this car, one with a normal SUV back and one with more of a sloped back called the Sportback. This puts the shape more in line with a lot of popular crossover SUVs and the Tesla Model Y. No doubt this will be a very popular car for Audi, as it's a truly compelling EV with a decent 250-mile range at a price point on par with other electric vehicles, instead of far more expensive. Now back to the more affordable brands, we have some exciting upcoming EVs from Hyundai. The Hyundai Ioniq and Kona Electric have been on the market already and have proved fairly successful. However, Hyundai is planning to make many more electric vehicles on the Ioniq platform, starting with the Ioniq 5. The Ioniq 5 has some very cool design elements to it, although the production version seems to be a little simpler than the prototype photos show. It's coming in the fall of 2021, should start around $45,000, features an impressive 800-volt architecture, and should achieve up to 290 miles of range according to estimates. It doesn't pack as much power as many other EVs with a 0 to 60 in 7.5 seconds, but the fast charging capabilities and feature-packed interior should make it a very compelling option. Hyundai has yet to detail exactly what their driver assistance systems will be, but it should offer a level 2 autonomous mode similar to Tesla Autopilot or GM Super Cruise. Next is VW, who's moving quickly into the electric vehicle market. They already have a couple electric vehicles available on their ID platform, and the most popular one and only one available in the US for the time being is the ID.4. It starts at $40,000 and gets a range of 250 miles. 250 miles seems to be the standard for most of these electric vehicles coming to market, but there are a few over 300 we will get into along with Tesla's lineup. The ID.4 is an SUV with a panoramic glass roof, lots of cargo space, and many great software features, although in reviews I've heard that the software can feel pretty slow and clunky compared to other brands. IQ Drive is their own advanced driver assistance technology and will fall similarly in line with GM Super Cruise. Again, this vehicle starts at $40,000, but there is a smaller ID.3 available in other countries right now as well. Additionally, they're planning an ID.5 and ID.6 in other countries, so I imagine we'll see many more options of this platform in the years to come. For right now, the ID.4 is the main one available everywhere. Next up is BMW. Believe it or not, BMW has plans for a number of electric vehicles. The BMW i4 is expected in 2022 with a range of 300 miles and 0 to 60 under 4 seconds. It is expected to cost around $50,000, but there are not many other details besides an 80 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Overall, it seems that it should be a well-built BMW that is fully electric and prices alongside their other vehicles instead of far more expensive. The BMW iX is expected to go on sale in 2022 as well, get 300 miles of range, and include fast charging. It's roughly the same size as the BMW X5 and will likely feel like the SUV version of the i4. Pricing has not yet been announced for either car, but should fall somewhere in the $50,000 to $60,000 range if this car is going to sell to BMW customers. Now let's talk about the EV you've probably heard about by now, the Ford Mustang Mach-E. The Mach-E starts at $42,895 for the cheapest model. The best models get up to a 300-mile range, which is incredibly impressive and tops all of the brands we'll be talking about besides Tesla. In the real world, it has also been performing great in reviews and living up to its promised ranges, which is pretty rare. It gets a 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds for the performance models, and the cheaper models get a 230-mile range. Upcoming is Ford's Blue Cruise, which is said to be their equivalent to Tesla Autopilot, and it will be enabled in the car via an over-the-air software update. It's an SUV, which makes the Mustang name an interesting choice, but it is proving very popular and will continue to grow in popularity in the next few years. Also from Ford is supposed to be their F-150 electric. There are hardly any details for this car, but it is expected to release in 2022, share similar technology to the Mach-E, and start around $70,000. The F-150 is already the best-selling truck, so most are expecting this car to be fairly similar featured to a current F-150, but pack in all the advantages of an electric car as well. The real question will be range on a vehicle as large as the F-150. Real quick, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Bespoke Post. Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club delivering awesome boxes full of top-shelf goods from under-the-radar brands for every part of your life, including home, bar, outdoor, and more. Each box has a theme and is packed with over $70 of value, along with useful advice to help you step up your life and discover cool new products from emerging brands. Each box only costs $45 and includes at least $70 in value, with the box lineups changing every month. You can skip a month anytime and swap or exchange your box without hassle as you discover cool products and brands while supporting small businesses. In fact, last year, Bespoke Post bought over $30 million in goods from small businesses. The boxes I chose include a wide variety of awesome products. The Brew Box includes a full brewing kit with everything necessary from Brooklyn Brew Shop, and you can choose between 3 different styles for that particular box. The Tarot Box includes the ultimate tool from Bare Bones, which is incredibly well crafted and versatile. It also comes with a great smelling Gold Moss Detox Scrub Bar and a bird call. Lastly, the Destination Box includes the Garment Duffel from Half Day, which is water resistant, lightweight, and very functional. If you want to check out one of these cool boxes, click the link in the description and comments below and use my code SHAW20 to get 20% off your first box. Check it out! Next is the newest announcement from Mercedes, the EQS. The EQS is the first full review of the future plans Mercedes has for electric vehicles. The EQS is all about luxury, and Mercedes claims that it is the most aerodynamic production car in the world. The main draw right away for this car is the interior with massive screens all along the dash. These screens look impressive and contribute to the futuristic look this vehicle has. Instead of going with 300 miles of range or so, Mercedes is promising over 400 miles of range in the EQS. When you add that impressive range on top of the technology packed inside this car, we can estimate that it will probably have a steep starting price, probably close to $100,000. It includes their own driver assistance technology along with self-parking assist and should release later this year or early next year. For price, the car will not be competing much with Tesla other than the Plaid Model S, but it's a great EV to launch Mercedes into their own electric future. Mercedes is actually planning to launch a new electric vehicle every year going forward, including the 2022 EQA SUV, the EQB SUV, and EQE sedan. All of these vehicles have been seen testing, but details are slim as to the prices that they will end up at, and how their ranges will be. Next up is the Mazda MX-30. The MX-30 is an all-electric SUV that should be coming in fall of 2021 according to Mazda. It's great to see an all-electric vehicle from Mazda, however the battery pack is only 35.5 kilowatt hours total. This means that the range of this vehicle will end up closer to 100 miles, so the price should be fairly low in order for them to actually sell this car. Mazda actually plans to make a hybrid version of this same car after the electric version though, so it doesn't really signal much of an electric shift for Mazda just yet. Nissan is going in a much different direction with the Ariya coming this year. The Nissan Ariya is an all-electric crossover with, quote, a new kind of interior for a new kind of driving. The Ariya is the follow-up to the Nissan Leaf, which was amongst the first electric vehicles out there. It promises a 300-mile range, which would put it right in line with the Ford Mustang Mach-E. It includes ProPilot 2.0, which is their own self-driving system, as well as a very software-based modern interior. It still has a lot of buttons, but appears a little simpler inside when compared to other Audi vehicles, for example. The Ariya is expected to cost around $40,000, with the more expensive model coming in around $45,000 or so. It should be another very compelling EV to compete across the board, but particularly with the Ford Mustang Mach-E. Next is the Kia EV6, which is Kia's first dedicated electric vehicle. It's built on their new electric global modular platform and promises incredibly fast charging as well as incredible performance. Inside it will feature a number of screens as well as a new augmented reality heads-up display. It promises 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds and should get close to a 300-mile range in the long-range model. There will also be a lower-range rear-wheel drive version at around $45,000, so this vehicle should fall in line with many other electric crossovers. There's the Model Y, Ford Mustang Mach-E, Hyundai Ioniq 5, VW ID4, Chevy Bolt EUV, Audi E-tron Q4, and now Kia EV6 all competing in the same space. Next is the Volvo C40 Recharge. This car promises a lot of future tech and learns from their XC40 Recharge, which has been out for a little while. It has built-in Google Android software, much like the Polestar does, which is a Volvo company. The large battery pack is expected to allow up to 210 miles of range and will be available in 2022. It actually won't be available at dealers and will only be available to order online and is expected to cost around $55,000. So it will compete with other vehicles like the Model Y, but will likely get a lower range and cost more. We still have a couple EVs from brands you've heard of, but the one brand I'm including that isn't super well known yet is Rivian. Rivian started in 2009 and has had a lot of big name investors including Amazon. They are making future Amazon delivery vehicles, and the technology they are working on is very impressive. Most people see a concept EV from a company they haven't heard of and expect that it will never come to market or will never succeed. But Rivian is on a different path, and most expect their cars to deliver and sell well. The Rivian R1T is an all-electric truck starting at $67,500 with over 300 miles of range. It boasts a quad-motor powertrain with a 0 to 60 in 3 seconds and an 11,000-pound towing capacity. It's truly made to be an impressive off-road vehicle and also include lots of great technology. There is a large center screen and instrument cluster display, and the car is connected over the air for updates and integration with your phone. It also features a beautiful all-glass roof, incredible storage, driver assistance systems, and much more. Deliveries for the launch edition of the R1T start this year, and the other editions will deliver in 2022. Rivian is also making an SUV version of this truck called the R1S. The R1S is very similar, starts at $70,000, gets a 300+ mile range, and a 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Nearly everything about this vehicle is the same as the R1T, but the cabin is extended and seats 7 comfortably. It's a very large SUV, so the ranges it promises are incredible. The launch edition is also expected this year with other deliveries in 2022. For now, those vehicles are in a class of their own, but soon they will be competing with the Hummer EV and Tesla Cybertruck. The Tesla Cybertruck packs incredible promise specs and ranges and starts at an incredibly low $40,000 for the cheapest version. The most expensive model is at $70,000, matching the starting price of the Rivian R1T, but promising a 500+ mile range. As I mentioned at the beginning, Tesla has their supercharger network, and Rivian actually plans to do their own exclusive charging network as well. It should be a huge selling point for Rivian as their vehicles begin production this year. The other competitors for these Rivians will come from GM with the GMC Hummer EV and Hummer SUV. The Hummer EV is all electric, starts at $80,000, and promises up to 300+ miles of range. The 0 to 60 is 3.5 seconds, and the Hummer EV promises a number of advanced driving and off-roading features such as crab walk. It also includes GM Super Cruise. The Hummer SUV is very similar to what we were talking about with the Rivian R1S. It looks nearly identical to the Hummer SUV and has very similar specs all around, but the cabin is extended to seat more people and carry more cargo inside comfortably. Going forward with these price points and focus on off-road driving, it really seems like Rivian and GMC will be competing for these expensive off-road focused trucks and SUVs. The Cybertruck is tough to compare because it is so different, and we have yet to see how it truly performs off-road or what the final pricing will be. Next, also from GM, is the Cadillac Lyriq. The Cadillac Lyriq is expected to release by the end of 2022 and comes in at an estimated price of $60,000. It's absolutely a luxury-focused EV with a very futuristic design. According to Cadillac, the Lyriq includes a 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack, which would mean that this vehicle should easily get over 300 miles of range. It includes a gigantic 33-inch curved LED display in the front that covers both the infotainment system as well as the driver gauge display. It will also have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and a very high-end AKG audio system. This will likely end up competing in the higher price point with vehicles like the Tesla Model X, but we will see when the final specs are released. Usually we don't expect a Cadillac to compete with a Nissan though, so these electric vehicles will probably be expensive. So those are the most exciting announced electric vehicles from mainstream brands coming out in the next couple years. So what about a number of other brands? Honda, Acura, Toyota, Lexus, Subaru, Dodge, or many more? As of now, these companies do not have true compelling electric vehicles that will be competing with the ones listed, and they are not expected to make electric vehicles that will be available anytime before 2023. There's a possible Honda EV on the way for 2023, but details are slim. Acura is expected to make an EV by 2024. Toyota will be revealing their electric vehicle on the 19th of April. Lexus has EV plans, but not for a few years. A Subaru EV is also expected, but not for a few years. And there are nearly no details about any Dodge EV. As we can see, there are a lot of compelling EVs coming to market in the near future. The biggest challenges will be range, charging options, and price. Batteries are expensive, but they are coming down in price. Tesla has long-term plans to build their own cheaper batteries, and so does GM to an extent, but many other companies are using this same technology available to all currently. This may soon prove to be too expensive or too supply constrained. We will also see what the future holds, but Tesla has surely done well on their mission to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Without Tesla, I'm not sure how many of these EVs would be on the list for 2021 or 2022. In any case, what is your favorite EV from this list? Leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. In the meantime, you can check out my latest Cybertruck updates video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.